Good morning, afternoon, evening. My name is Richard Connor Hymas, and for my final project, I chose to research and analyze recent security breaches with regard to how they impact the future of security. So what exactly is a security breach? A security breach as defined by Norton can be explained by example. If someone smashes a window and climbs into your home, that's a security breach. If the intruder snatches your documents and personal information and climbs back out the window, that is a data breach. However, a more technical definition will tell you that a security breach occurs when an intruder gains unauthorized access to an organization's protected systems and data. Cybercriminals or malicious applications bypass security mechanisms to reach restricted areas. A security breach is an early stage violation that can lead to things like system damage and data loss. The CIA triad is an incredibly powerful concept that can provide a baseline or standard for information security. By keeping these three concepts in mind, it can help the network administration make important decisions in regard to balancing the act of making data available to their clients. Keeping that same data confidential and making sure that the data being provided is correct to a high degree of accuracy. I'm going to provide a more detailed explanation of each idea because we will be applying this concept to various security breaches to help us dissect the inherent flaws of some recent security breaches. Confidentiality revolves around the idea of least privilege. This principle states that access to information, assets, etc. should be granted only on a need-to-know basis, so that information, which is only available to some, should not be accessible by everyone. Integrity. Make sure that the information is not tampered with whenever it travels from source to destination or even stored at rest. The data stored in underlying systems, databases, etc. must be protected through access controls, and there should be an accepted procedure to change the stored and transitory data. Availability. A popular attack that specifically targets this aspect of the triad is the DDoS attack, or Distributed Denial of Service attack. Some insight can be gleaned by the popularity of this attack in the sense that availability can impact not only the functionality of a company or organization, but also the reputation of the company. I think it is important to state that each of these are extremely important, but without some aspect of security focused on each pillar of the triad, it cannot stand on its own. Now that we have the initial information needed to help dissect the data breaches efficiently, we will now talk about the Yahoo data breach. It is said that one mistaken click was all it took for hackers who were aligned with the Russian state to gain access to Yahoo's network. Yahoo's final estimates place the number of affected users at all 3 billion user accounts. In 2014, the FBI began their investigation, and it was carried out for 2 years, and it wasn't until then that the full scale of what had happened became apparent. The hack began with a spear phishing email, and for the sake of clarity, spear phishing is defined by Oxford as the fraudulent practice of sending emails ostensibly from a known or trusted sender in order to induce targeted individuals to reveal confidential information. This email was sent to a number of employees, and the danger of the hack becomes clear when we realize that it only takes one employee in the whole Yahoo Corporation to click the malicious link to begin the hostile takeover. This allowed a Latvian hacker, Alexei Balan, to install a backdoor into the Yahoo network, where he was able to search and look around until he found the user database and an account management tool, whose specific purpose is to edit the aforementioned database. The database included the typical information: names, phone numbers, password challenge questions and answers, password recovery emails, and cryptographic values for each account. With this stolen information, specifically the recovery emails and cryptographic keys, It allowed the two Russian agents, Dmitry Dokachev and Igor Sushin, to target and access accounts of their choosing. The fact that the group of 4 hackers had complete control of the Yahoo user database for quite a while, it is safe to assume that data confidentiality and integrity were completely destroyed, shattering the baseline that is set by the CIA triad. None of the data contained within said database could be considered legitimate, as it could have been tampered with in so many ways. And although 3 billion potential user accounts stolen is a hard number to beat, it can be argued that the next breach was far more harmful to those affected. You may have guessed, but the next breach we'll discuss is the Equifax breach. It was on September 7th, 2017, that Equifax, a credit reporting agency, or CRA, released a statement saying that the data related to 143 million of its US consumers was stolen. Some in the UK and Canada were also affected, but to a lesser degree, which is still no small matter. The graphic on the left breaks down the numbers, and out of the near 330 million located in the US, almost half had their name, date of birth, and social security numbers stolen. The vulnerability that was exploited was located in the Apache Struts framework, and it was patched by the Apache Software Foundation on March 7, 2017, well before the announcement of the attack, and well before any suspicious activity was found on their network. The vulnerability remained unpatched until July 29, 2017, when Equifax's security department noticed suspicious network traffic. And it wasn't until the next day when Equifax took the entire dispute portal down, heavily affecting the CIA triad availability portion. The National Vulnerability Database gave the CVE 2017-5638 a base score of 10 for both, meaning that the vulnerability was critical for both the CVSS 3.0 and CVSS 2.0. A nice touch as well is that the NVD did the hard work of stating how much the CIA triad will be affected. In this case, a lot. It is hard to believe that a company wouldn't patch such a critical bug, and although the NVD gave the bug an exploitability score of 3.9, I take that as meaning that only people who know what they are doing are going to attempt this type of attack on this vulnerability. It is not lost on me that hindsight is usually 20/20, but this seems to be a particularly egregious error, especially when Equifax had potential government contracts, which in my opinion hold the highest level of security. But we all know that is not always the case. Now that we have discussed 2 extremely large data breaches, we can now discuss potential solutions. First, implement a complex password policy. Require employees to have an extensive password that has a combination of non-sequential characters, numbers, and symbols. Another step is to require a password change every 3 to 6 months. Second, employee training. Employ a strong network administration team that can impart training to all levels of the company or organization, from junior levels to CEO positions. This can help avoid attacks that target widely used communication networks like email, phone, and text. Third, create a breach response plan. Creating this type of plan can help prepare everyone for when a breach does occur. It enables the security team to identify and analyze the attack faster and more efficiently. Fourth, encrypt the data. The data that was stolen from Equifax was stated by ex-CEO Richard Smith to be unencrypted. It would have been such a huge roadblock for the attackers if the information stolen was protected behind a strong layer of encryption that would take a long time to brute force. Finally, having a third-party auditor analyze your company's network. A fresh perspective and pair of eyes can help find potential risks and security flaws that the first-party network administration team may have missed. In conclusion, attackers and vulnerabilities are never going to go away. With every new piece of hardware or software comes with it a host of potential problems that have yet to be identified. Implementing basic security practices can go a long way in preventing catastrophic breaches like we discussed with Yahoo and Equifax. In order to preserve the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data, we need to enforce strong security policies for both the benefit of the client and company.